Spotty storms possible overnight, headed into a fairly sunny Sunday. I'm Sasha Nixon. Here's what's trending this hour. The problems at the southern border with immigration are impacting Indiana, says Indiana Attorney General Todd Rokita.
Evansville, Indiana right now is in the top 5 cities for sex trafficking of illegal immigrants.
He tells 93 WIBC's Hammer and Nigel that while the I-69 project does need to get done, it will make it easier for criminals and illegal immigrants to get to Indiana. He's pleased but not surprised. That's how former Vice President and Indiana Governor Mike Pence feels about there being no criminal charges filed against him after the feds found classified documents in his home in Indiana earlier this year. The Justice Department says they were satisfied with the results of the investigation and consider the matter closed. The Paws and Promises wedding fundraiser will be held Tuesday, June 13th. This means that wedding ceremonies and vow renewals held between 9 a.m. and noon will benefit the Friends of Indie Animals. All ceremonies will be performed outside the City-County building on Luger Plaza, and you are encouraged to reserve your spot in advance. Instead of paying an officiant's fee, you are asked to bring at least $50 to donate to the organization. You may even bring your own pet to the ceremony, but pets must stay on leashes or in kennels. You can also adopt a dog during the fundraiser. P.S. If you're getting married, don't forget your marriage license. On the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com. Now here's the forecast from the American Standard Cooling Weather Center.
Tonight, a spotty shower storm early. Most areas are going to be quiet, clear, and mild, a low down to 64. Sunday, sunny skies, very warm, a high of 87. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Marcus Bailey, 93 WIBC.
I just wish Mom could hear better on the phone.
Dad gets so upset with me when I call. I wish it were different.
The CapTel Caption phone from Relay Indiana allows you to speak into the phone, and your words appear on a bright, easy-to-read screen. Conversations occur naturally with added clarity.
I used to love our phone chats. I wish it was like before.
Now it can be with the CapTel Caption phone. Go to RelayIndiana.com and call 334-1413 today.
I always had to be so good, no one could ignore me. Carve my path with data and drive. But some people only see who I am on paper. The paper ceiling, the limitations from degree screens to stereotypes that are holding back over 70 million stars. Workers skilled through alternative routes rather than a bachelor's degree. It's time for skills to speak for themselves. Find resources for breaking through barriers at tearthepaperceiling.org. Brought to you by Opportunity at Work and the Ad Council.
Were you hurt in a car, truck, or motorcycle accident? The insurance companies may chisel away any hope you have of winning your case, and they don't have the advantage of video proof that the hammer may have. Call us today or visit roadproof.wewin.com.
A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. This is the Second Amendment. And this is the Gun Guy.
Boom, 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 boom. Bang, 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 bang. Boom, 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 boom. Bang, bang, bang.
With Guy Relford on 93 WIBC.
Well, good afternoon and welcome to the Gun Guy Show here on 93 WIBC. We're thrilled to have you here. A lot of interesting things to go into, as we always have. Mayor Hogsett's announcement. And this came a little bit before last weekend, but with race coverage, we didn't have a show last weekend. So we're going to get into this tonight. But Mayor Hogsett, as mayor of Indianapolis, announced his gun control proposals that he wants to have passed in the Marion County, Indianapolis City County Council. And these are incredibly far-reaching, very broad, and we're going to play here a little bit later his announcement, so you hear it directly from him, of what it is he wants to accomplish at the local level here in Indianapolis in terms of gun control. And ostensibly, what he thinks will somehow keep Hoosiers, and in particular folks in Marion County, safer than they already are. And he's obviously getting a lot of heat. And I think he's feeling a little heat in terms of the mayoral election that's coming up. And listen, Marion County voters keep turning out and voting the way they vote, and it's inexplicable to me, other than a very clear indication that so many people just come in and vote along party lines. And in Marion County, in recent years, certainly, you don't have to go that far back to find a Republican mayor of Indianapolis. I believe Mayor Ballard, not that long ago, was a Republican, and there were several more before that. But in recent elections, including the elections that Joe Hawkson's been involved in, and our prosecutor, Ryan Mears, there's a lot of legitimate criticism to be levied at both of these people involving crime rates. Ryan Mears' refusal or inability to follow up on a red flag case that directly led to the FedEx mass shooting. I'm sorry, I don't think that's debatable. And we've had folks like Rick Snyder, the president of the Fraternal Order of Police, for our local law enforcement officers right here in Central Indiana, come on this show and come on Hammer Nigel and others and say directly the same and say exactly the same thing. But voters keep voting the way they vote. In the meantime, apparently is a bit of a Hail Mary, I think. And I don't know, Hail Mary is probably the wrong term, because it's not like he's feeling any imminent threat of losing this election just because of the way Marion County voters vote. But he's throwing this against the wall, and we're going to get more into that in just a bit. But allow me, and look, I don't talk about a lot of personal issues here on the Gun Guy Show because there are a lot more interesting things to talk about. But I realized something here, and I posted on my social media, both Twitter and Facebook. Go on Twitter at Guy Relford and give me a follow. I'm trying to build my Twitter following, and I've been more active on Twitter. But I posted on my social media that today is the 40th anniversary. That is June 3rd, 40th anniversary of the day I got sworn in to practice law. And that's a little mind-boggling to me, because I'm not nearly old enough to have been practicing law for 4 decades. I remember as a relatively young lawyer, I remember lawyers telling me, well, I've been practicing law for 20 years or 25 years. And I thought, oh my God, that's so many years. You're so old. Well, I just hit 40 today. But I mention it only because the last several years, since I established my own practice and since I devoted my practice exclusively to the defense of constitutional freedoms in Indiana, in particular Second Amendment rights here in Indiana, they've been, I can't say the most financially rewarding necessarily, from leaving a big firm or having worked for a big corporation, but in terms of emotionally satisfying and rewarding in every other way, they've been just tremendous, tremendous years. And that directly led to, very involuntarily or accidentally, you could call it, including the Gun Guy Show. And by the way, I think it's next month, we're marking the 9th anniversary of the Gun Guy Show. And it's only because of my law practice combined with what I've done for Second Amendment advocacy and being a firearms instructor for, 25, 30 years, and teaching a lot of people gun safety, responsible gun ownership, marksmanship, how to defend yourself, your family, your home. It all kind of flowed together, and it led to WIBC, coming to me saying, hey, man, you want your own show on a weekend? I mean, I have a full-time job the rest of the week, but yeah, Saturday afternoon, I can do that. So it all kind of fits together. And it's just, I don't know, it's fun for me to reflect on. But more than anything, the message that I want to send and the emotion that I have is just thank you. Just thank you. I mean, I wouldn't be here doing the Gun Guy Show if folks don't listen. And hey, listen, I'll tell you something funny. I hear other radio hosts, including on this station, and, they talk about how awesome their ratings are. They talk about how much influence their show has. They talk about, how politicians listen to them or fear them or whatever. I don't know. I don't know whether those things are true or not. But in particular about ratings and influence, all I can tell you is I have never, in the soon-to-be 9 years, I think it's 9 years. I don't know. I suck at math. That's why I went to law school, because there's no math involved. But I think it's 9 years. In the 9 years I've been I've been doing the Gun Guy Show, do you know that I have never been told what the hell my ratings are, quote unquote? If somebody came to me and said, Guy, what are your ratings? I wouldn't even have any idea how to answer that question. Nobody at WIBC or now Radio 1 and before Emmis ever came to me and said, hey, Guy, your ratings went up this week, or they went down this week, or they're trending down, or they're trending up over the last 6 months or year or whatever. No one has ever had that conversation with me, not once. You know my gauge on whether anybody's listening to the show or not? My gauge is when I pull in the garage, I have this key card, and I wave it in front of the little machine, and it either works or it doesn't. And I always think, okay, step one, I got in the garage today. That's probably a good sign. And then the same card I use to get in the building and get up to the fourth floor here at the beautiful WIBC studios at 40 Monument Circle, looking right down on the circle, which is awesome. I love doing that. And then when I go to log in to my computer here in the studio, if my login all works, I'm like, hey, they let me in the building. They let me sit in the chair. There's nobody else here. And my login works. I must be doing okay. That's all I know. And if anybody wants to talk about, influence or those things, that's not for me to talk about. It's for other people to talk about. This has no analog to me or the Gun Guy Show, but you know what I've always respected? I've respected athletes when they're being asked, well, don't you think you're a premier quarterback in the NFL? Or, oh, don't you think you're one of the best hitters in Major League Baseball? Or you get a question like that about, what their status is. And again, I'm drawing no analogs here whatsoever. I'm just saying something that I respect. And obviously we're talking about a dramatically different issue here. But I've always respected when they go, I don't know, I'm just doing the best job I can do. I just work hard every day. And that's for other people to talk about. It's not for me to talk about what my influence is or what my rating. I couldn't talk about what my ratings are because hand to God, I have no idea. I couldn't even tell you what the numbers are supposed to look like. I mean, is it a percentage? Is it a number? I don't know how it's measured. I mean, if I'm listening to my radio and I'm listening to some radio show and it annoys me halfway through and I switch over to Pandora, does anybody know that? Is somebody monitoring that? Does somebody know what I listen to and what I don't? Here I am 9 years in the business, more or less, and I still don't know how any of that stuff works. So anyway, my point in all of that is just to say thank you for listening over the last 9 years. And more than that, to my clients, man, it's in the thousands, I'm sure, over 40 years of the people that have hired me to be their lawyer. And sitting here at this 40-year anniversary, all I can say is thanks. It's not something I think that I want, need, or deserve congratulations for. It's, hey, you've kept working. I mean, so what? But I feel gratitude. It's not pride, it's gratitude. Because I couldn't be doing this radio show if people didn't listen, and I couldn't be practicing law if people didn't hire me. And that's all a big deal to me, and it means a lot to me, and I have an overwhelming sense of gratitude. And just wanted to, and I apologize for this because I'm sure there are a lot more interesting things that we will get into here after this break. But pardon me that personal moment, because I really wanted to express that here on the radio of how grateful I really am. I really am, not only for this gig here at WIBC, but for all the people over the last 40 years who hired me as their lawyer. And with that, we'll get on to the more pertinent stuff that we'll get into here on the Gun Guy Show. We're taking a break. Give us a call. Join the discussion. We're going to get into Mayor, yeah, he wishes. We're going to get into Mayor Joe Hogsett's ridiculous and, get this, illegal gun control proposals when we come back. But I'd love to take your calls and questions, as we always do. That's how we really got started here on the Gun Guy Show. We're a purely call-in show. 317-239-9393. Give us a call, 317-239-9393. This is Guy Relford on the Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC.
Hammer and Nigel.
Dr. Jill Biden. She was doing some speech. She was clearly wanting some applause at one point.
I've visited red states and blue states, and I found that the common values that unite us are deeper than our divisions. And I thought you might clap for that.
Hammer and Nigel, weekdays 3 till 7 on 93 WIBC and WIBC.com.
Hi, this is Denny Smith for ZeroRez, and it just feels like summer's here. So how about calling ZeroRez for some first-class cleaning? No one can clean like ZeroRez because only ZeroRez cleans with the patented electrolyzed water. No soap, no harsh chemicals, no residue to attract more dirt. Get ready for summer vacations with some peace of mind knowing your home is really, really clean. Right now at ZeroRez, you get 3 rooms of carpet clean for $149 plus a free hallway and $50 off air duct cleaning too. Yep, air duct cleaning is something the ZeroRez pros have been doing to help you breathe easier and improve the air quality in your home. Duct cleaning improves the efficiency of your HVAC equipment, reduces energy costs, and extends the life of your equipment. Call ZeroRez today and mention WIBC. You'll get 3 rooms of carpet clean for only $149, and they'll give you a free hallway and $50 off air duct cleaning too. For a smarter, lasting clean and really easy scheduling, call 388-5141 or visit ZeroRezIndy.com.
Guy Relford for Premier Arms, located in Brownsburg. Premier Arms has the largest and most diverse selection of new and used firearms in central Indiana, with over 1,500 firearms in stock, from pre-Civil War firearms all the way through modern Class 3 firearms as well. They have the best prices on new and used firearms with a knowledgeable, professional, and courteous sales staff. They're also Indiana's largest Benchmade knife stocking dealer, and I'm a big fan of Benchmade knives. Stop by and see them at 3754 South Green Street in Brownsburg. Give them a call at 317-858-3030, or you can always check them out online at premierarms.com. That's my friends at Premier Arms, located in Brownsburg.
It's prime home selling season. Right now, home buyers are actively looking. With mortgage rates moving lower, now is the ideal time to get your home sold for maximum dollar. Make the smart choice. Hire the agent I recommend, Mark Dietl. Maybe you're a growing family or working from home, and that means you need more space. Matt in Greenfield has a bunch of investment properties, so he knows who's good in the real estate world. He heard about Mark Dietl and how awesome he was, and it's true. He hired Mark for his most recent home sale, and he delivered a cash offer, no inspection, no appraisal in days.
There's only one agent that we recommend and trust on the Hammer and Nigel show, and it's Mark Dietl. And the reason we trust him is because of the guarantee. Mark Dietl guarantees your home sold at an agreed-upon price and deadline, or he will buy it. Call him right now, 317-755-4232, or go online to markdeedle.com. That's Mark, D-I-E-T-E-L, markdeedle.com. Tell him Hammer and Nigel sent you.
Enjoy more summer when you shop at Family Dollar. Beat the heat with low prices and stock your cooler or fridge with great deals like these. Dr. Pepper 12-pack, 3 for $11 after Smart Coupon. Hawaiian Punch 6-pack or 128-ounce jug, just $2.25 each. Gatorade 28-ounce bottles, just 3 for $4. And don't forget the cups. 100 Homeline red plastic cups for just $6.50. Stay cool and refresh your summer with Family Dollar, helping you do more.
Gilbert worked in retail and restaurant management for 14 years. It was time for a change.
I recognized where I was at was vulnerable to the whims of the economy.
Then he heard about My Computer Career. Gilbert went for it.
In as little as 7 months, I got all of my certifications at a fraction of a cost for college.
He became an IT pro in just months with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
I can work from anywhere. I have more time for my family as well.
It's not rocket science. It's mycomputercareer.edu.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
My simple solution to the problem was remove people from the scene and help them feel safer.
In response to attacks against Asian Americans, Maddie Park raised over $250,000 to donate cab rides to the Asian community.
There is so much more work to be done. We really need to come together and tackle this issue as a community.
Support the Asian community. Learn how at lovehasnolabels.com. Brought to you by Love Has No Labels and the Ad Council.
It's getting hot. Need AC service in Johnson and surrounding counties? Call Marshall Mechanical Heating and Cooling, your independent American Standard Air dealer. Call themarshallnow.com.
There are screening tests to catch cancer early. Visit cancer.org/getscreened.
An amendment. This is The Gun Guy with Guy Relford on 93 WIBC.
And welcome back. I'm Guy Relford on The Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC. And we're going to get into Mayor Hogsett's gun control proposals. Before we do, I had a couple of very interesting questions from Matt on our YouTube feed. And by the way, if you want to watch a video of The Gun Guy Show, I'm not sure why people watch, because not a whole hell of a lot to look at. But you want to see some old bald guy doing radio, you can go to YouTube and search for 93 WIBC. It'll come right up. But folks, come on there, and there's a chat feature, and so you can post questions or comments or whatnot. But Matt's gone on there and asked an interesting couple of questions, and I want to address these. And by the way, give us a call. You want to join the show on a telephone call, give us a call, 317-239-9393. But Matt asked the question, do double tap or triple tap settings make a firearm class 3? Well, double tap, triple tap settings, Matt, what I'm going to interpret that to mean is a 2-round or a 3-round burst. In other words, you pull the trigger, and M4, the military rifle currently issued to most of our infantry, most of our soldiers who get rifles in the military, and M4 is a select fire. You can have it purely semi-automatic, or it can fire in 3-round bursts. And different versions of the M16 that were issued to military. And listen, I was never in the military, certainly never carried one of these as part of military service. My understanding is originally M16s were either semi-automatic or full auto. And at some point, I believe there were at least some versions of those that came out that were select fire as between semi-automatic and some number of rounds that came out in a 3 or 4 round burst. And there's a reason for that, which is you can be more accurate, only firing a 3-round burst or so. But to answer your question, Matt, when you say, does it make it class 3, what he's talking about there is, does it make it an NFA regulated firearm? That is a firearm regulated by the National Firearms Act of 1934, and one of those is a machine gun. So phrased another way, I mean, it's a perfectly intelligible question the way Matt phrased it, but if a gun fires a 2 or 3 round burst, and that's the way I'm going to interpret your question, Matt, does that make it a machine gun that has to be registered with the ATF under the National Firearms Act? The answer is absolutely. If you pull the trigger and you get more than one bullet per trigger manipulation, then that's a machine gun. Now, where you get into a really interesting discussion is with other triggers that allow you to simply pull the trigger very, very quickly. And frankly, the bump stocks that were made illegal, quote unquote, by the ATF at the request of President Trump, I'm sorry, we can't let that go. That's absolutely true. After the Las Vegas shooting, bump stocks were essentially defined into Congress's definition of a machine gun after bump stocks were allegedly used in the Las Vegas shooting. And listen, I could go on. I'm not a big conspiracy theorist. I'm really not. And when I hear a lot of conspiracy theories, about black flag operations or yada, yada, I tend to roll my eyes and go, yeah, mm-hmm. But there's a lot we don't know about the Las Vegas shooting. And my suspicions, and I have no specific theories. I know there are a lot of different possibilities, but the problem I have with the Las Vegas shootings is the FBI and local law enforcement in Nevada and Las Vegas, they did what appeared to be a very brief investigation, and then we never heard word one after that. I mean, how much do you know about the motivation for that shooting? How much do you know about the actual shooter? Okay, he's a high-stakes gambler who suddenly decides to go murder a bunch of people. In the video and the audio I heard and saw from that shooting are not consistent with police reports based on what I know about firearms. So anyway, I have no particular theories, and I'm not going to throw around any particular conspiracies that I believe in. But there's something whacked about that shooting, and there's something, I guarantee you there's a lot we don't know. There's a lot that law enforcement's not telling us, and I don't like that. I resent it. As a member of the public, we deserve to know. But the point for this discussion is, after bump stocks were reportedly used, and I don't ever use the names of mass shooters. They're looking for notoriety and fame. They're not going to get it from me. But after they were reportedly used in that shooting, then President Trump went to ATF and said, I want you to make bump stocks illegal. And they did, essentially by rewriting Congress's definition of a machine gun. To say, well, if it kind of simulates the action of a machine gun, so it's kind of sort of a machine gun, then it's really a machine gun. And obviously that's not what the words say, but that's what the meaning is. And for that reason, okay, bump stocks now get you 10 years in federal prison. So now there are binary triggers. What's a binary trigger? You pull the trigger, you get a bang, you get a bullet that exits the muzzle, then you release the trigger, what we call reset, and you get another bang, you get another bullet. Well, that requires two manipulations of the trigger. You're pulling and you're releasing. So it's not a machine gun. But when you pull and release and pull and release and pull and release, and you're getting bang, 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 and you do that quickly, it doesn't take a lot of training to simply manipulate your finger back and forth. It sounds like an automatic firearm. I've been to several ranges where somebody's shooting a binary trigger and you're like, whoa, hold on. Somebody's got a machine gun. Well, it's not. And it's not legally a machine gun either. But the ATF is looking hard at those. And then there's something called a forced reset trigger. And these are getting a whole lot of attention because there are a couple of offices, including one in I think it's Miami, in Florida, that came out with a letter. We think forced reset triggers make a gun a machine gun. And there's one particular manufacturer who got, I believe, a cease and desist letter saying, hey, you're making parts that make guns machine guns, and that's all illegal. Because the way the machine gun regulation works is that under what we call the Hughes Amendment from 1986, that is written by Congress, they said we're not going to allow any registration or any importation of additional machine guns for the civilian market after April of 1986. So unless you have a machine gun that was in civilian hands and registered as a machine gun before 1986, the particular date in 1986, it's not transferable. Nobody can own it. So transferable machine guns for civilian purposes are only those that were already in civilian hands by April 1986. So going back to Matt's question, if a gun fires a 2 or 3 round burst, and again, that's how I'm interpreting double tap or triple tap settings, quote unquote, if that's truly just pulling the trigger once and getting 3 rounds or 2 rounds, yeah, that's machine gun, and that's NFA, and that's got to be registered. And if it's not, it wasn't already registered, or the particular components, like a drop-in auto sear, that make it an automatic firearm, because you get more than 1 round per trigger pull, wasn't already registered, serialized before April of 1986, then yeah, that's NFA. And Matt asked a separate question, which actually I think is also very interesting, and it kind of is something that sets me off a little bit. So I'll get into that too when we come back from this break. And then I will go into Mayor Hogsett's comments. We got people calling in. That's great. We'll respond to that. We'll put you on hold for a bit, but we'll get you right here on the air, so be patient with us. And we'll be right back. We're taking a break. This is Guy Relford on The Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC.
Tony Katz.
I voted for you to figure this out. If you won't, I'm not going to lose my mind. I'm simply going to vote for somebody else who will. That's our job. America is a machine. The elected officials are cogs. If the cog doesn't work, out, put in a new one. Boop. That's me putting in a new cog. Bloop. I'm going to sip my bourbon and not worry about a thing, Huber.
Tony Katz, mornings 6 to 9 on 93 WIBC and WIBC.com.
Mom, Dad, Sis?
Here we go again.
Why are you in a suit? Picture, if you will, a world with the best network imaginable. I'm talking about the Xfinity 10G network. Go on. Mom, remember how your reality shows wouldn't load with all of us online? Now you can binge. And Susie, we'll have fast internet in the basement.
Nice.
If you have any questions, here's my card.
This is just your name on a gum wrapper. Introducing the 10G network only from Xfinity. The future starts now. Now through June 21st, new customers can get 200 megabit per second internet on the next generation Xfinity 10G network for just $25 a month for 2 years. Plus, there's no annual contract required, and you get Wi-Fi equipment included. Go to Xfinity.com/10G, call 1-800-XFINITY, or visit a store today. Requires paperless billing and autopay with stored bank account. Restrictions apply. Taxes and fees extra. After promo, regular rates apply. Actual speeds vary.
Premier Deck Coating, the ultimate deck protection. Who are they? Well, they're a sister company of Rhino Shield, and Premier Deck Coating is the product you need if you're tired of applying the same old stain and paint every couple of years to your deck. It's Terry, Stacy, and David and I have a deck that's probably 25 years old. The countless hours and the money that we spend on maintaining that deck never ends. And then we heard about Premier Deck Coating, family-owned, based right here in Indy, and they are going to completely transform our deck with their special formulated product, which repels moisture, scratch-resistant in virtually any color that we want, and backed by a 10-year guarantee. No more spending time staining or painting every year. Premier Deck Coating will keep our deck looking great for years to come. Premier Deck Coating can also do fences and pergolas, too. For a free quote, call 317-696-4071 or visit premierdeckcoating.com.
Fox News, I'm Joe Giro. After bipartisan passage of a bill to increase the debt ceiling Thursday, President Biden addressed the nation from the Oval Office last night.
More Americans are working today than ever in the history of this country, and inflation has dropped 10 straight months in a row. In this debate, I refuse to put what was responsible for all this economic progress on the chopping block. This bipartisan agreement protects the law that will help us build the best infrastructure in the world.
The president signed the bill into law today. The head of St. Peter's Basilica performed a special rite after a man stripped naked and hopped on the main altar with the words "Save Children of Ukraine" written on his back. The penitential rite was performed after the desecration of the altar. Hong Kong police detained 8 people, including activists and artists, on the eve of the 34th anniversary of China's Tiananmen Square crackdown. America is listening to Fox News.
Hey, good morning. You're heading to the airport, right?
Yep, thanks for checking. I like the car. How long have you been a rideshare driver?
About 3 years now, but I really enjoy it.
Isn't it hard to make money these days with the price of gas being so high?
Not for me. I use Upside, the free app that gives you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get real money back when you get gas with the Upside app?
Yep, I get real cash back every time I get gas.
Does that actually add up to anything?
I'll make around $200 to $300.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code TIRE for an extra 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank account, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code TIRE for a 25 cents a gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code TIRE.
Whether you're an experienced firearms owner or are just thinking about getting a new firearm, Atkinson Firearms in Greenwood has everything you need. With brands like Glock, Smith & Wesson, Canik, Colt, Henry, SIG, and much more. If Atkinson Firearms doesn't have it, they can get it. Plus accessories, from holsters to ammo and everything between. Atkinson Firearms is firefighter-owned and veteran staff with a new, larger location. Follow Atkinson Firearms on Facebook. Atkinson Firearms, off County Line Road next to the Greenwood Airport.
Gilbert worked in retail and restaurant management for 14 years. It was time for a change.
I recognized where I was at was vulnerable to the whims of the economy.
Then he heard about My Computer Career. Gilbert went for it.
In as little as 7 months, I got all of my certifications at a fraction of a cost for college.
He became an IT pro in just months with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
I can work from anywhere. I have more time for my family as well.
It's not rocket science. It's mycomputercareer.edu.
This is one student's experience. Individual results vary.
The show about gun rights, gun safety, and responsible gun ownership. This is The Gun Guy with Guy Relford on 93 WIBC.
And welcome back. I'm Guy Relford on The Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC. Tell you what, some people have called in. We always want to give priority to our callers. especially when they have interesting questions. So let's go to the phone lines, and we've got Jason who's called in. Jason, welcome to the Gun Guy Show.
Hey, thanks, Mr. Relford.
Sure.
I had a question about, so I actually got my first NFA item not too long ago. It was a suppressor.
Awesome.
And I kind of had a question about other people that live in your house and basically their ability. Like, for example, if I were to give the combination of the safe that I keep it in to another person who lives in the house who doesn't have, say, a trust, what is the legality of that?
Yeah, it's a great question. And, and it's a little silly that we have to worry about these things, Jason, but it's still a great question. And unfortunately, we do have to worry about those things because if the suppressor's just registered to you, and that's what I understood, right? It's not registered to a trust, as you said, it's just registered to you as an individual.
Yes.
Okay. Well, then that means that only you can lawfully possess it. So you think, okay, that's easy. No one else will have a gun with that suppressor mounted on it and go walking around the house or go to the range or anywhere else. So that ought to take care of it, you would think. But ATF, and this is it's not unique to ATF. It's a general legal principle. There are two forms of possession. And you start with the idea that no one can lawfully possess an NFA item except the person it's registered to. And that's why we do a lot of NFA trusts at my law practice, because any co-trustee then can lawfully possess that item. And so a lot of people want to establish a trust so their shooting buddies or their family members, their spouse, whoever it might be, can also lawfully possess that same NFA item, whatever it is. And it's particularly true with suppressors. And I'm a big suppressor fan now. I own several. And the more you shoot suppressed, man, the more you want to buy suppressors because, knocking that sound level, and it doesn't silence anything. The legal term, if you go to the NFA, they talk about firearm mufflers and silencers. Well, silencer was actually the brand name. Hiram Percy Maxim, who we really give credit to for inventing the suppressor, who was also a pioneer in automobile mufflers, car mufflers. It's the same technology. It's just a series of baffles in a tube or a metal container that reduce both the temperature and the pressure, the PSI, of hot gases, so that when they finally exit that device, they don't sound as loud. Same technology, auto muffler, and he was a pioneer in developing auto mufflers. And they developed what he called his firearm muffler, that the brand name of which was silencer. And so there's all these, you can find these old ads out, and there's one ad, I love it. There's this lady in a big hoop skirt, and this is, don't just quote me on the date, 1920 something. And there's these old ads where this lady in a kind of an old formal 1920s type attire, and she's inside a house and she's target shooting in her living room. And it says, shoot firearms in the house. Check out Maxim's silencer. And that, anyway, but that's where all that comes from. But we'll go back to the point of possession. And a lot of people like suppressors. I love suppressors. The more you shoot with them, the more you want to shoot with them. Only the person who possesses the registered item, or the only person the item is registered to, is a better way of putting it, can possess that item. Two forms of possession. One's actual possession. So I have it in my hand. Or I have it in a gym bag or a range bag that's over my shoulder. Okay, I possess that item. There's another form of possession. It's called constructive possession. And when someone doesn't have actual possession, so it's not in their hands, it's not tucked in their belt, it's not in their purse or their briefcase or their range bag that they're holding, they simply have the intent and the capacity, is the way the words are written in the cases that establish this, to possess that item. Then they have what's called constructive possession, and they possess that item even though they don't have actual possession. So and there are rules that go around this. Like if someone has exclusive control over the premises where an item is located, and there's access to that item, then they are presumed. The intent and the capacity to exercise control over that item can be inferred in the language of the cases. So let's say you're not home, the safe is unlocked, or the suppressor is on a gun and it's sitting on the nightstand. You're not home and there's a break-in in the house and police are called and police come in and your wife's the only one home. If there's access to that and she's the only one home, she has exclusive control over the premises. Or you leave your suppressed firearm in the car and she then takes the car and she's driving it by herself and she gets pulled over. She may not even know that suppressed firearm is in the range bag in the back seat, but she possesses that item under constructive possession, I should say, because she has exclusive control over the vehicle and the item is in the vehicle. So the best way, and you mentioned, if she doesn't have a combination of the safe, yeah, that helps. And listen, ATF hasn't won a constructive possession case in a couple of decades, as far as I can tell. And it's kind of a silly theory. Well, you don't really possess this, but we're going to send you to prison for 10 years anyway. It's kind of goofy. And that's why they've seldom bring those cases. And even if they bring them, they seldom win them. And I don't know that they've won one in forever. But you'd want to do everything you can to negate any possibility that some law enforcement officer, or particularly somebody from ATF, could say, aha, she didn't have actual possession of that item, but she had constructive possession of that item. That's just something to keep an eye out. Great question. I'll tell you what, let's quickly go back to the phone lines before we take this break and go to Kevin. Kevin, you got a question for us?
Yeah. Is in Indiana a stop and ID law, and what does that mean? When do I have to show my ID, and when am I not required to? I've been watching these videos on YouTube, Blackluster and Audit the Audit, and some of the things I see these police officers do that's illegal, and they're recording themselves, is beyond belief. So I wanted your take on that. Yeah, stop and ID, Kevin, it's a great question. And listen, there have been societies around the world where a member of police or a member of the military could walk up to you and on demand and demand to see your papers, right? I would try to do that in a German accent, but my German accent's like really lousy, right? I need to see your papers. See, lousy German accent. That didn't work out well for those societies. And that's why here in the United States, under general principles under the Fourth Amendment, it's not legal, it's not appropriate for a law enforcement officer for no particular purpose, just to walk up to you and demand to see your identification. And yes, there is a failure to identify law here in Indiana, but the way it's written, only if you are suspected of, and there's a reasonable belief that you have committed an ordinance violation or an infraction. So speeding ticket would be a great example. And it's been interpreted to include crimes, and that actually makes sense. It makes more sense in the context of a crime than it does a speeding ticket. But if you've been accused of a crime or an infraction, an ordinance violation, then officers can request you to identify yourself either by producing your identification, your driver's license or otherwise, or other form of written identification, or by you giving them your name and address. But if you're not accused of any crime or ordinance violation or infraction, then there's no obligation to identify. And I've had these cases. I've had cases where guys got hassled. I've had multiple of these cases. They were hassled just because they were open carrying. One, the guy was in his own front yard, where even before constitutional carry, there was no obligation to have a handgun license. And a police officer, this is down in Washington, Indiana, home of the Hatchets. That's footnote, one of my favorite all-time sports team names, the Hatchets. Of course I committed that foul. I'm a Hatchet. I love that. But down in Washington, Indiana, a guy was in his own front yard, open carrying, but he was videotaping police arresting his next-door neighbor. An officer didn't like that. Officer stormed over there, demanded to see his handgun license. And being a smart guy and educated in the law, he said, I don't have to show you a handgun license because I'm in my own front yard, because you've never had to have a handgun license on your own property to have a handgun, even before constitutional carry. And the guy said, well, I need to see your ID. He goes, what crime am I being accused of? And the guy, actually, we had this recorded,
I'll think of something. Not only was that not a valid arrest, but there was a civil lawsuit involved. And I can't go into details, but there was a financial settlement involved where they had to compensate this guy for having his rights violated. So we don't have a requirement for law enforcement to just demand your ID and detain you. And there are Fourth Amendment principles directly at play here to say, oh, you need to show me your ID for whatever reason. You have to be accused of a crime and some legitimate basis for that accusation, or an ordinance violation or an infraction, before you have any obligation to show ID. Hope that answers that question. Great question. Interesting question. We'll be right back. We've got more people calling in. We'll also, yes, we will get to these ridiculous proposals by Mayor Hogsett here in Marion County when we come back. We're taking a break. Guy Relford on The Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC.
Kendall and Casey.
Donald Trump liable for sexually abusing and defaming her. They did clear his name of rape, however.
It, to me, does reinforce why he can't be the nominee. You're now running with this?
Mm-hmm.
You're already a candidate who has a serious issue with swing state suburban women, and now you're running with this?
Mm-hmm.
Kendall and Casey. Weekdays 9 till noon on 93 WIBC and WIBC.com.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Guy Relford here. Time again for the Indy 1500 Gun and Knife Show this coming weekend at the State Fairgrounds, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. There's never been a more important time to exercise our rights as true Americans. It's the Indy 1500 Gun and Knife Show. See the best in sporting, hunting, and personal protection gear, plus great displays of Americana. Come see us this weekend at the Indy 1500 Gun and Knife Show, Friday 2 to 7, Saturday 9 to 6, and Sunday 9 to 4. It's the Indy 1500 Gun and Knife Show. See you there.
Diamonds Direct takes our most popular offer ever up to the next level. Now, for a limited time, you can make any purchase and take advantage of special financing for up to 5 years, or get $5,000 off. Get the lowest possible monthly payment, or get a generous cash credit. It's all about giving you more. Design the ring of your dreams with our most flexible finance options and best savings ever offered. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion. Get details and more at diamondsdirect.com. On approved credit.
Denny Smith here for Sundown Gardens. The summer startup sale is here and you can save 20% off container trees and shrubs, 30% off Dissectum Japanese maples, 30% off pottery. Finish off the landscaping in your yard and save money at Sundown Gardens now through June 11. 20% off container trees and shrubs, 30% off Dissectum Japanese maples, 30% off pottery. Ask about their loyalty program too. 186th Street and Spring Mill Road, sundown.gardens.com. That's sundown.gardens.com.
Greatness doesn't happen overnight. It takes time, focus, and dedication. At Shelter Insurance, we understand that because we put in the hard work and dedication for decades. And that commitment is paid off with award-winning customer service for your auto, home, and life insurance. Visit shelterinsurance.com and find an agent to help you choose the coverage you need. Shelter Insurance. We're your shield. We're your shelter.
Antler Point Golf Course in Rushville invites competitive golfers to enter the inaugural first annual Bob O'Link Open Saturday, July 8th. 18 holes. USGA rules. First prize, $6,000. Second prize, $3,000. Third prize, $1,000. Certified USGA 6 handicap or lower are eligible. The first annual Bob O'Link Open, Saturday, July 8th at Antler Point Golf Course in Rushville. To find out more, visit antlerpointgolf.com. That's antlerpointgolf.com. Spell point with an E.
Hi, we're the Goo Goo Dolls. We're fortunate that our daughters have what they need to grow and learn. But that isn't the case for nearly 13 million kids in the U.S. that struggle with hunger.
Childhood hunger is a heartbreaking reality that Feeding America is working to change. Each year, the Feeding America network of food banks rescues billions of pounds of good food that would have gone to waste and provides it to families and children in need.
You can help kids in need in your community by visiting feedingamerica.org.
Brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
There's a lot of sexy content on the internet. And there's WIBC, full of faces meant for radio. Hammer and Nigel, Kendall and Casey. Okay, Casey could be on TV. Now streaming every day on YouTube. Go to youtube.com/WIBC. Your rights, your responsibilities, your guns. This is The Gun Guy with Guy Relford on 93 WIBC.
And welcome back. I'm Guy Relford on The Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC. We're glad you're with us. And let's go back to the phone line. He's got another couple interesting questions. Joe has called in. Joe, what can I do for you, buddy?
Yes, I had a question about, I've seen where people have had guns confiscated for different reasons, maybe taken in where they've had a stop for autos being stopped and guns taken, and then they've had to prove ownership with the bill of sale.
Yeah, are we talking about Marion County here, Joe?
Yes.
Okay. Well, and your question is, how do you get them back?
Well, what happens when you inherit guns from, where, like my father's passed, and he had some guns, and there's no way anywhere that I could find any bill of sale because he's had them ever since I was born.
Well, no, and that's a big problem, Joe, and that's one of the reasons we're looking at litigation against Marion County, because there are an awful lot of people. I mean, hell, I've never inherited a gun, but I've gotten guns in private sales. I've traded guns. I've acquired guns in a lot of different ways, and I got to say, the minority of any guns I own, do I have a bill of sale for? I own them. I take pictures of them. I inventory them. But the IMPD property room in the basement of the city-county building is not returning the guns to people that are not even accused of being used in crimes. I mean, it could be something like you're the victim of a theft. Your car was stolen. There's a gun in the car. Your home was a victim of a break-in, and your home was burglarized, and a gun was taken. And police recover your gun. You've given them the serial number. You said, this is my gun. You give them the make, model, and serial number. They recover your gun, and they say, oh, no, we won't give it back to you without proof of ownership, like an original receipt. And most people don't have that. And that's why it's essentially, in my mind, stealing your firearm. So we're looking directly right now at suing Marion County and the Indianapolis Police Department, City of Indianapolis, over that policy, because in my mind, it's criminal conversion, which is related to theft. Someone has your property with an obligation to return it, and they don't. That's the criminal definition of conversion. So we're looking at exactly that. Now, the IMPD has come out officially and said that they're looking at changing these policies. And there's some related policies about all guns that come in, they send to do ballistics on, they send that information to a database at the ATF in Washington. And so we don't know exactly what new policies are going to adopt, and we don't know how their existing policies are going to change, and we don't know of this business about ownership is changing as well. So we're taking a look at what they change, which may influence how that lawsuit is structured. But you're in the same situation that literally hundreds, if not thousands of people are in because of the incredible number of guns being held in the property room at IMPD that they're not returning for reasons that are completely, absolutely illegitimate. So we're looking at that, and unfortunately, you're in the same boat with a lot of people, but it's a legitimate complaint. And my organization, the 2A Project, is looking specifically at filing a lawsuit over that. In the meantime, we're coming up on the end of the first hour. We're going to take a break. We'll come back. We're going to get directly into the issue with Joe Hogsett and his proposals when we come back. This is Guy Relford on The Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC.
I had to choose between my health or a roof over my baby's head.
Emma was laid off from her job shortly after giving birth to her son, Josiah.
When I got laid off, it was scary, you know?
Emma thought she and Josiah were in an impossible situation. It got even worse when Emma began to feel sick.
I lost my insurance and didn't really have any money saved up.
They were falling through the cracks.
I was like, what am I supposed to do?
A friend told Emma about Gennesaret Free Clinics.
They were so kind. The doctor said she would take good care of me, of us.
Gennesaret Free Clinics is a nonprofit organization that relies on the philanthropy of the community. Your generosity provides free, compassionate, and patient-centered healthcare directly to those who need it the most. Your donation of just $50 will provide 20 patients with wellness kits and an entry to completely free care.
Because of Gennesaret, I'm healthy enough to be the mom Josiah deserves.
Donate now by calling 317-639-5645 or go to gennesaret.org. That's GENNESARET.org.
For adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy, now there's Skyrizi, risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection. With Skyrizi, 3 out of 4 people achieve 90% clear skin at 4 months, and Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Nothing and me go hand in hand. Nothing on my skin, that's my new plan. Nothing is every day.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms, such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
With Skyrizi, you could achieve 90% clearer skin. Ask your doctor about the #1 dermatologist prescribed biologic in psoriasis and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
AE Ammo is Greenwood's ammunition superstore. The largest variety in training, hunting, and self-defense ammo with the best prices locally guaranteed. Factory new 9mm FMJ ammo starting at $12 per 50-round box. Factory new 50-round boxes, $380 from $14.99 and $45 ACP from $18.99. And with the AE Ammo Customer Rewards Program, start earning points today towards money back to use on future purchases. Shop in-store or online at aeammo.com.
They are our love bugs and companions. They are our pets, our family, and they make life better. When we face unexpected challenges, so do our pets. That's why we're on a mission to support people and their pets. Whether donating a bag of kibble, sharing an Instagram post of a lost cat, or welcoming a foster pet into your home, every bit of kindness counts. Visit petsandpeopletogether.org to learn how to be a helper in your community. Brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
Broadcasting from the Peterman Brothers Heating, Plumbing, and Electrical Studios, this is Indy's Mobile News, 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. The news starts now.
Hands into high gear. I'm Joe Chiro, Fox News. Republican presidential candidates in Iowa today stumping at the Roast and Ride, a motorcycle ride and barbecue at the state fairgrounds. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis among them.
We see the problems day after day, but I think American decline is a choice. And I'm running for president because I think if we choose another path, we can restore American greatness.
The Roast and Rides, hosted annually by Iowa Republican Senator Joni Ernst. President Biden has signed the debt ceiling bill after it was passed by the Senate Thursday. He addressed the nation last night as the legislation was sent to his desk.
We averted an economic crisis, an economic collapse. We're cutting spending and bringing the deficits down at the same time. We're protecting important priorities from Social Security to Medicare to Medicaid to veterans to our transformational investments in infrastructure and clean energy.
The bill averts a June 5th deadline when the nation would have defaulted on its loans. The border controversy not going away, though. A House subcommittee on border security and enforcement will hold a hearing Tuesday on the end of Title 42. Arizona Republican Congresswoman Debbie Lesko.
I think we want to know exactly what's going on. It doesn't appear that the Biden administration wants to secure the border. Instead, I believe their priority is to process more illegal immigrants into the United States.
The GOP has criticized the Biden administration for not extending Title 42 after it expired last month. 2 people were killed when their small twin-engine airplane crashed today at Tupelo Regional Airport in northeastern Mississippi. Witnesses told a local TV station the plane banked sharply after takeoff and came down beside the airport's Army Aviation Support Facility. America is listening to Fox News.
Stay on top of the latest forecast with America's Weather Team in the palm of your hands.
Here's the latest from America's Weather Center.
It's Fox weather updates throughout your busy day, every day.
5 inches of rain by tomorrow.
Temperatures being 30 degrees above average.
Put the power of over 100 meteorologists and the worldwide resources of Fox in your hands with the Fox Weather Podcast. Precise, personal, powerful. Subscribe and listen now at foxnewspodcasts.com. Connect to Fox News Audio on the Fox News app. Listen to hear your favorite hosts like Brian Kilmeade, Jimmy Fallon, and Guy Benson standing up for what's right, live and via podcast. Just click listen, then swipe right and hear the latest news updates on your time. And scroll down to hear the latest podcasts from Fox News. And it's even easier to listen in the car with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. Get programming alerts and notifications. Fox News Audio is on the Fox News app. The voices America trusts. Download it now.
Another law enforcement officer has been
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Bleeding insanity, heading into a somewhat sunny Sunday. I'm Drew Cosgrave. Here's what's trending this hour. He wants the insanity defense. John Herrick reports on the man accused of killing a police officer in Indianapolis.
On Friday, Elias Dorsey had a pretrial conference in Marion County. His legal team claims Dorsey was not in his right mind when police say he killed IMPD officer Breanne Leith in April of 2020. The judge, Mark Stoner, spoke to Dorsey in the courtroom.
Do you agree with their decision as a matter of strategy for your defense in presenting insanity as a defense?
He said, yes, Judge. Leith Dorsey's trial has been pushed back from September of this year to February of next year. John Herrick, 93, WIBC Mobile News.
Business owner in southern Indiana was writing checks he couldn't cash. Harrison Silcox reports.
John Gibbs, who owns Gibbs Innovative Manufacturers in Scottsburg, had been paying contractors with checks that weren't going through. State police started investigating in March when one vendor told them about a fake check worth more than $10,000 that was written by Gibbs. Detectives say he wound up spending over $300,000 in fraudulent funds, and Gibbs was arrested in Kentucky Friday. Harrison Silcox, 93, WIBC Mobile News.
There's a rubber duck race on Sunday in Broad Ripple.
But I think what makes the Broad Ripple Duck Race unique is that it feels like it's happening right in the middle of the village. People line the canal.
Executive Director Jordan Dillon says it runs for 2 hours, but there are children's activities for the first 90 minutes. You can buy a $6 rubber duck at the event before 4 p.m. Activities start at 3. And I'm Drew Cosgrave, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com. Now here's the forecast from the American Standard Cooling Weather Center.
Tonight, a spotty shower storm early. Most areas are going to be quiet, clear, and mild, a low down to 64. Sunday, sunny skies, very warm, a high of 87. I'm Wish TV Storm Track 8 meteorologist Marcus Bailey, 93 WIBC.
This Father's Day, find the perfect gift for the dad who loves the perfect yard. From steel mowers and blowers to trimmers and chainsaws, our AK Homeowner System of battery-powered equipment has a range of tools Dad is sure to love. Visit your local steel dealer and save $50 on the FSA 57 battery trimmer set. Now just $149.99. Real steel. Find yours at steeldealers.com. Was $199.99 MSRP. Set includes AK-10 battery and AL101 charger. Offer valid for a limited time at participating dealers while supplies last.
My name is Teresa Barber. I was in the United States Navy, and I served overseas in the Middle East and Africa. Early on in my career, I had a commander that taught our suicide prevention training, and the very next day, he took his own life. 90% of suicide attempts involving a gun are fatal. My way of continuing my service is to help protect my community by being a responsible gun owner and by storing firearms safely. Store all your guns securely. Help stop suicide.
Brought to you by End Family Fire and the Ad Council.
Summer, birds, bees, and air conditioners. So cool down, save big. Call 888-RHINO-41. Don't paint, don't vinyl. Go Rhino. Rhino Shield.
When you're high, you feel different. But if you feel different, you drive different. So don't drive high. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
A well-regulated militia being necessary to the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. This is the Second Amendment. And this is the Gun Guy.
Boom, 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 boom. Bang, 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 bang. Boom, 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 boom. Bang, bang, bang.
With Guy Relford on 93 WIBC.
And welcome to hour number 2 of the Gun Guy Show here on 93 WIBC. We're thrilled to have you with us on what turned out to be a fabulous Saturday afternoon. A little warm, but I kind of like the warmer weather. I'm a motorcycle guy. The old Harley, the Harley's 25 years old, having a couple of mechanical issues right now, but I'm on it. Bought some parts today. I've got my buddy Randy, who is a much better mechanic than I am. It's going to help me out when my parts come in, so I will be back on the road soon. But in the meantime, it was a fun weekend, beautiful weekend. We hope you're enjoying the weather And I certainly appreciate you tuning into the Gun Guy Show. Let's talk about a couple of things I just got asked about here just quickly. Somebody apparently was watching the YouTube video and then bounced over to Facebook and sent me a private message. So, I got a couple of questions. What's the pin on your hat? Okay, all right. I'm proudly wearing a Raven pin from Gunsight Academy. Gunsight, in my mind, is the premier firearms training facility in the world for civilians. It's in Paulden, Arizona. I just went out there last fall for a 5-day pistol and combined. It was really a rifle class, but they worked a little transition to pistols into it. 5-day class. Wore my old butt out, but hey, I was out there. I stuck with it for all 5 days and actually shot pretty well. And, you get a little bit of swag when you take a class out there, including a Raven pin. And so I stuck this here on my hat. The hat I'm wearing is from the 2A Project. And that's my gun rights organization. And very proud of it. We're right out front in getting constitutional carry done for Hoosiers this year. A lot of legislators will tell you that without the 2A Project, we may likely have not gotten that done this year. So I'm very proud of that. And then, and I'm wearing my 15-second T-shirt. I'm wearing a T-shirt that says, 15 seconds, be like Eli. If you listen to the Gun Guy Show, you probably know the reference. On one sleeve, it's got the U.S. flag. On the other sleeve, it's got the 2A Project logo. And on the back, it says July 17th, 2022. So what's the significance of that shirt? Well, 15 seconds, be like Eli. The mass shooting in the Greenwood Park Mall, the mass shooting where the bad guys shooting innocent people, lasted a total of 15 seconds. The bad guy was shooting at innocent people for 15 seconds. Why did it only take 15 seconds? You saw Uvalde, where it took hours, over an hour, for law enforcement to break in and kill the bad guy. Over an hour. And listen, a lot of people will tell you that the duration of a mass shooting always depends on the arrival of the second gun. Well, in Uvalde, a lot of guns showed up. People just didn't have the leadership or the courage to use them and end that threat. Well, you had a private citizen, Elijah Dickin, known by as Eli, who's my client. And I'm very, very proud to say he's my client. He was there in the Greenwood Park Mall. And because Eli was willing to engage that active shooter from a distance at first of 43 yards and displayed just amazing marksmanship in the process, that entire mass shooting. Now, listen, 3 innocent people still lost their lives. And I don't ever, ever, ever want to minimize that. That's why a lot of people look at this as a great example of Second Amendment rights saving a lot of lives. And it is that. That is completely legitimate. That's exactly what it is. It shows that, yes, a good guy, in fact, can stop a bad guy with a gun. Yes, good guy with a gun stopped a bad guy. And those people out there, like Moms Demand Action, and other Bloomberg groups, and the Gifford campaign, or the Brady Center, they will come out and tell you that that's a myth. It never happens. Well, it happened in Greenwood, Indiana. But it's still nothing to celebrate because then 3 innocent people lost their lives. But after a number of months and in talking to Eli about it, we wanted to do a couple of things. We wanted to raise some money for Eli. And Eli still needs some support. That's all I'm going to say about that. But Eli also wanted to support the 2A Project and gun rights in Indiana. And so, yeah, we're selling these T-shirts. They say 15 seconds, be like Eli. And what does that really mean? It means have the training, have the capacity, have the courage, if you're somebody who carries a firearm, to be willing to do, and again, we may not all have that same marksmanship. Man, I've been an instructor for a long time, been shooting a long time. I've been a competitive shooter. I don't know if I could have made all the shots that Eli did under those circumstances with screaming people, yelling and running by. He actually had to pause after his first 2 shots to let screaming people run past his sight picture. And still hit 8 out of 10 shots, starting at 43 yards. You don't know if you can do that until you do it. I haven't done it. Eli did. But the be like Eli idea is the idea that we ought to have the mindset, we ought to have prepared, we ought to have trained, And we ought to care enough about our fellow human beings to step into the breach, to step up, to do what needs to be done in that moment. And that's inspirational to me, and that's why we came up with this. It's kind of a cool logo, just at 15 seconds, and there's kind of a stopwatch with a second hand at 15 next to it, and then "Be Like Eli" in parentheses below that. So it's a cool shirt. They're real nice. They're well made. If you want one of those, you can get them at the2waproject.com. That's the2waproject.com, which is a nonprofit. And I'm the CEO. I founded it, so full disclosure. But half that money is going to the 2-Way Project, and half of it's going to Eli. And I'm really proud of that. And so anyway, somebody asked me those questions. It was a great lead-in. I should send you a shirt just for letting me talk about it on the radio. But in the meantime, I wanted to answer that. So let's get into it. And listen, we're coming up pretty quickly on a break. But I want to play you the quote about what Mayor Joe Hogsett wants to do in Marion County with respect to guns.
Raising the minimum age to purchase a firearm from 18 to 21. A complete ban on the sale of military-style guns, such as the AR-15 used in our most recent attack on IMPD officers. This package will end permitless carry policies opposed by law enforcement, as well as the concealed carry of handguns anywhere in Marion County.
So there's a number of things there, right? So you're going to raise a minimum age to buy a gun. Now, again, this is Marion County. That's all they can do is they can pass regulations, an ordinance, create infractions at the local level. So we're going to raise the minimum age to buy a gun from 18 to 21. Well, what's the law now? And what can Marion County do about that or not? You're gonna end the sale of so-called military-style weapons, including the AR-15. All right. Can Marion County do that? Can Marion County put you in jail if you own a gun shop in Marion County and you sell an AR-15 to somebody who's 19 or 20 or 18 for that matter? So we're going to do away with constitutional carry, which was passed by the state legislature. Can Marion County do away with constitutional carry? And you heard his words. I'm not putting words in his mouth. Eliminate concealed carry of handguns in Marion County. Can Joe Hogsett and the Indianapolis Marion County City County Council, can they do that? That's what we're going to get into when we come back. I would love to get your calls, your questions, and comments about Joe Hogsett and this policy. But that's what I'm going to get into. I'm going to go through and break all this down. Don Z on YouTube just asked the question, does Indiana have a preemption law that says the city and county can preempt state law? No, Don, they don't have any such law, but we do have a law that says exactly the opposite, which is the state law preempts local law. And that's a big part of what we'll get into when we come back. I'm proud to say I was the first lawyer in Indiana to file a lawsuit under our Firearms Preemption Act, and I've also filed more of them than any other lawyer in the state. I've also taken the meaning and scope of our preemption law to the Court of Appeals. So I've got a little background on this information and want to get into that as well. And as always, take your calls and questions, comments and questions in your phone calls, 317-239-9393. That's 317-239. Did I say that wrong the first time? 317-239-9393. I've only been doing this for 9 years. You'd think I'd know the phone number. 317-239-9393. We're taking a break. We'll be right back. This is Guy Relford on The Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC.
The pothole. Formed in colder months, tiny fissures are born. And in no time at all, they grow into big,
gigantic tire killers.
That's why you need Matt Baird Traffic.
Watch out on Keystone Avenue.
He'll guide you around these hidden monsters
Yeah, might as well call it a basement.
and on to safer ground.
You don't want to be in the far left lane.
Mornings and afternoons on 93
Guy
WIBC.
Relford for Premier Arms, located in Brownsburg. Premier Arms has the largest and most diverse selection of new and used firearms in central Indiana, with over 1,500 firearms in stock, from pre-Civil War firearms all the way through modern Class 3 firearms as well. They have the best prices on new and used firearms with a knowledgeable, professional, and courteous sales staff. They're also Indiana's largest Benchmade knife stocking dealer, and I'm a big fan of Benchmade knives. Stop by and see them at 3754 South Green Street in Brownsburg. Give them a call at 317-858-3030, or you can always check them out online at premierarms.com. That's my friends at Premier Arms, located in Brownsburg.
Have you saved enough? Do you have a plan for Social Security and taxes in retirement? Hey, Casey Weed of Howard Bailey Financial, where our mission is to help you gain clarity and purpose and elevate meaning in your life through personal and practical financial strategies. That's why we want to give you our Retire with Purpose toolkit at no cost. In it, you'll find valuable information on minimizing taxes, maximizing Social Security, and building a retirement income you can't outlive. Plus, you'll receive a copy of my book, Job Optional. To get your complimentary toolkit, call or text the keyword INFO 42 to 866-482-9559. That's INFO 42 to 866-482-9559.
Howard Bailey Financial is the official wealth management partner of Notre Dame Athletics. Notre Dame Athletics was compensated for this endorsement and is not a current client of Howard Bailey. For more information, please visit howardbailey.com/ND disclosure. Investment advisory services may be offered through Howard Bailey Securities LLC, a registered investment advisor. Working with Howard Bailey Securities LLC cannot guarantee investment success or that specific financial goals will be achieved.
Guy Relford here. Time again for the Indy 1500 Gun and Knife Show this coming weekend at the State Fairgrounds, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. There's never been a more important time to exercise our rights as true Americans. It's the Indy 1500 Gun and Knife Show. See the best in sporting, hunting, and personal protection gear, plus great displays of Americana. Come see us this weekend at the Indy 1500 Gun and Knife Show, Friday 2 to 7, Saturday 9 to 6, and Sunday 9 to 4. It's the Indy 1500 Gun and Knife Show. See you there.
Parents, are you tired of helping put your kids' shoes on? They're squirming, watching cartoons, anything but helping. Luckily, it's Skechers to the rescue. Introducing new hands-free Skechers Slip-ins. Footwear you can just get your kids to step into and their shoes are on. You don't need to bend over. You don't need to sit on the floor and try to wrangle them on. And they're available in all types of Skechers styles with and without laces, and most are machine washable. Find Skechers Slip-ins for kids or mom and dad at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish shoes are sold.
Guy Relford for Tactical Firearms Training. Our next Essentials of Indiana Gun Law class is coming up at Parabellum Firearms and Indoor Range. This is in Avon, located there at 8217 Kingston Street. I'm really excited to teach this class out there, and they've got a nice, big, spacious conference room we're going to teach the class in. Get this, there are currently 5 seats available. The class isn't for 2 more weeks, but it's almost sold out. We've got 5 seats available. After the next 5 seats are sold, we're going to close the registration, which will probably be yet today. It's 9 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. There in Avon at Parabellum. It's just 4.5 hours of the most important legal information you need as an Indiana gun owner. So check that out. Again, we got 5 seats left. After that, you won't be able to attend this class. We won't have another one posted probably for another month and a half or so. So check that out at tactical-firearms.com. Just click on upcoming courses at tactical-firearms.com.
I'm a veteran. My victory was admitting I had PTSD and getting help.
As America's veterans face challenges, DAV is there.
I no longer see it as a weakness, but as a sign of strength. I call it post-traumatic growth.
DAV provides a lifetime of support, helping veterans of every generation get the benefits they've earned.
I am a veteran. I lost both legs in Vietnam.
Every year, DAV helps more than 1 million veterans so they can reach victories great and small.
My victory was getting my benefits and a good education.
I'm a veteran. When I got out, I felt like nowhere was safe. My victory was finding the help I needed.
But there's more to be done and more victories to be won.
Thanks to DAV, now I feel like I'm human again.
Help support more victories for veterans. Go to DAV.org.
Not completing high school is more of a social thing than it was an academic thing. Even though all these years have passed, I still had that longing to have my diploma.
At age 30, Carissa finished her high school diploma.
If you're even considering getting your high school diploma, you can do it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
It's getting hot. Need AC service in Johnson and surrounding counties? Call Marshall Mechanical Heating and Cooling, your independent American Standard Air dealer. Call themarshallnow.com.
The Indianapolis Public Library. More than just books. Visit your local branch today.
Now you've got a gun guy. Guy Relford on 93 WIBC.
All right, welcome back. I'm Guy Relford on the Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC. And let's just quickly go back to the phone line. Steve's been on hold for quite a while. Let's go back and catch Steve. Steve, welcome to the Gun Guy Show.
Hey, thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
A long-time listener.
I appreciate that.
Got to do the joke.
Yeah, no, I get it.
But as recently as last Wednesday, I was granted expungement for.
Steve, and you didn't hire me to do your expungement?
I tried.
Dude, you're okay, well, I'll shut up then.
I promise I tried twice, brother.
Okay, all right. My bad. I won't whine at you then. So I'm sorry. What is your
you
question?
were my first choice. You really were.
I appreciate that.
I promise that. Anyway, it was in Tippecanoe County, so I hired an attorney up there.
Okay. Was that my buddy Kirk Freeman?
No, it was Greg.
Okay. All right. Okay. Yep. I'm sorry, but go ahead.
So the expungement was granted Wednesday, and I'm wondering how long it takes for all the paperwork to filter through the system so that I can pass a 4473.
Yep. Well, I'll tell you what, that's somewhat of an unanswerable question. And just to give a little background to Steve's question, and that is that what happens is an expungement of a felony in Indiana or other disqualifying conviction, other than for a crime of domestic violence, and I'm not suggesting for a moment that Steve had one of those, but an expungement does restore your civil rights, including the right to possess a firearm. And so Steve hired a lawyer. Apparently, I wasn't quick enough on the draw to return a phone call or an email there. I apologize for that. But hired a lawyer, got an expungement, had his rights restored. Question then is, how long does it take to be able to go in and buy a gun and pass a background check in the gun store? And we don't exactly know. Some of the courts, and it's not even consistent within a county, like Steve mentioned, Tippecanoe County. It's the individual court personnel in individual courts. Some of those take your expungement order and they send them around to where they need to go to have your criminal history updated. Specifically, the expungement desk at the Indiana State Police. That's the most important place for them to go. And I have their direct email address, so I just email them. And they're great. They're responsive. They're busy, and I think somewhat overworked. But you send that, and they're responsible for updating your national criminal histories to reflect the fact that your rights have been restored and your conviction's been expunged. How fast they get that done, you never quite know. It just depends on volume, how many they're doing every day, and what the backlog is. Could that happen in a day? Sure. Could it happen in a month? Yes, just depending on volume. In addition, what you don't know is once those national criminal histories are updated, and then you go into the buy, let's say you wait 6 weeks, which ought to be fine. Then you go in and buy the gun in the gun store. And now you fill out the 4473, which is the form that Steve mentioned, which is what you fill out in the gun store. Then the gun store people take your identifying information off your 4473 and they send it to the FBI, NICS, the National Institute of Criminal Background Check System, run by the FBI out of West Virginia. Then some examiner, some civil servant sitting in a big room full of computer monitors gets that information and they run your background check, which is supposed to be an instant background check. What you're then dependent upon in terms of whether you're going to pass that background check is, one, whether your information's been updated, and then two, does that examiner who looks at your criminal history, are they going to just see your conviction, or are they also going to see the expungement? That's just a matter sometimes of scrolling long enough through the particular case that he's looking at to see that it's been expunged. Secondly, they have to understand that under Indiana law and federal law, an Indiana expungement of a conviction in Indiana does restore your gun rights. So they have to see that, first of all, your record has to be updated. They have to see that the conviction's been expunged, and then they have to understand what the effect of an expungement in Indiana is. And this person could be 2 days on the job. Because in some states, an expungement, and until we changed the statute in 2015, and I won't go into all the details on this, if the feds took the position that an Indiana expungement did not restore your rights, your right to possess a gun. And so we literally changed the statute in 2015 to make sure that it does restore your rights, and that feds agreed with us that it does. The Indiana Attorney General agreed with us that it does, and it issued a final opinion to say so. Curtis Hill, when he was still Attorney General, wrote a beautiful analysis of why an expungement does restore your rights. So the good news is, Steve, that your rights have been restored. The bad news is the process now begins to make the federal government have the information that they need to see your rights have been restored, and then to understand that your rights have been restored. And that's a very inexact science. And I can't tell you how long. I can't tell you it's 6 days, 5 days, 12 days, 6 weeks. It depends on all those variables that I just went through. But it's a great question. It's something, I do a lot of expungements. I wish I would have done Steve's. If I'd have returned a call faster, it sounds like I would have done his. And I'm just one guy. That's my biggest problem at my law office. But I love doing them. I love restoring rights. But it's frustrating sometimes when the feds don't understand the process, or the system breaks down when they don't see the update. I'll tell you what, before we do anything else, we're just before the bottom of the hour. Let's go ahead and take a break here, and I'll get in and I'll get through the whole analysis of what Mayor Joe Hogsett wants to do here in Marion County and whether it's even legal. We're not talking about him creating crimes here that we have to worry about violating. I'm talking about, are his proposals illegal? That's the more interesting discussion, which we'll get into when we come back. This is Guy Relford on The Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC.
Hammer and Nigel.
Dr. Jill Biden. She was doing some speech. She was clearly wanting some applause at one point.
I've visited red states and blue states, and I found that the common values that unite us are deeper than our divisions. And I thought you might clap for that.
Hammer and Nigel, weekdays 3 till 7 on 93 WIBC and WIBC.com.
Hi, this is Denny Smith, and school is out. Your home needs a break, too. Before you dive into summer fun, ensure a fresh start with a Zero-Res reset. Zero-Res can take care of the remnants of school projects, spills, and stains, and make way for an unforgettable summer. Right now at Zero-Res, you get 3 rooms of carpet clean for $149, plus a free hallway and $50 off air duct cleaning, too. Zero-Res does it with no soap, no residue, no harsh chemicals, using their patented ZR water. They really get the allergens and irritants, as well as the dirt and the stains, out for a lasting summer clean. And the techs are the best in the industry, trained in extraction techniques that just work to get your things really, really clean. With Zero-Res, things just stay cleaner longer, with a softer and fluffier feeling that you will absolutely notice. Now mention WIBC and get 3 rooms of carpet clean for $149, plus you'll get a free hallway and $50 off air duct cleaning too. Call 388-5141 or schedule your appointment online at ZeroResIndy.com.
Enjoy more summer when you shop at Family Dollar. Beat the heat with low prices and stock your cooler or fridge with great deals like these. Dr. Pepper 12-pack, 3 for $11 after Smart Coupon. Hawaiian Punch 6-pack or 128-ounce jug, just $2.25 each. Gatorade 28-ounce bottles, just 3 for $4. And don't forget the cups. 100 Homeline red plastic cups for just $6.50. Stay cool and refresh your summer with Family Dollar, helping you do more.
This is
Indy.
The roar of the crowd.
Ready for next May? The race to renew is on. Indy 500 ticket renewals are open for the next 500 hours.
Felix Rosenquist spins. Kirkwood goes upside down. Oh my goodness.
Lock in your current seats by June 20th for the lowest prices available. And be first in line for upgrades.
Here comes Joseph Newgarden.
Details at IMS.com. This is Indy, where heroes become legends.
Joseph Newgarden will win the Indianapolis 500-mile race.
And legends become legendary.
Fox News, I'm Joe Chiro. Arlene is now a tropical depression off the Florida coast, but more storm systems may be on the horizon.
It is hurricane season, so Miami leaders, they are asking people to prepare for the season. One factor to consider are the newcomers who haven't experienced a storm yet.
Fox Weather's Brandy Campbell in Miami. The 2024 field of Republican presidential candidates likely to expand.
Former Vice President Mike Pence is ready to jump into the race. Allies of former New Jersey Governor Chris Christie formed a super PAC ahead of his likely bid, and North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum is expected to announce as well. Texas Republican Senator Ted Cruz told the Fox News Rundown podcast he thinks it's a two-man race between former President Trump and Florida Governor Ron DeSantis. Cruz, who came in second to Trump in 2016 after those GOP primaries, says this time around he'll support whichever Republican wins.
Fox's Jessica Rosenthal. America's listing of Fox News.
Garage door problems? Call today for service today. Garage Doors of Indianapolis has been solving garage door problems for 33 years. Call today for service today. 875-4577. Garage Doors of Indianapolis services all makes of garage doors 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Call today for service today. Get it fixed right now. Call Garage Doors of Indianapolis at 875-4577 or visit doorstoday.com.
In the morning, call 875-4577. Service today.
Antler Point Golf Course in Rushville invites competitive golfers to enter the inaugural first annual Bobo Link Open Saturday, July 8th. 18 holes, USGA rules. First prize $6,000, second prize $3,000, third prize $1,000. Certified USGA 6 handicap or lower are eligible. The first annual Bobo Link Open Saturday, July 8th at Antler Point Golf Course in Rushville. To find out more, visit antlerpointgolf.com. That's antlerpointgolf.com. Spell point with an E.
My friend and I are taking a trip to Mexico this year, but neither of us speak Spanish. So we downloaded Babbel and started learning Spanish fast.
Want to start getting conversational in another language? In as little as 3 weeks, Babbel's quick 10-minute lessons were designed by language experts to be the most efficient and effective way to learn a new language.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas? Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. That's Babbel.com.
Hammer and Nigel here, inviting you to join us as we kick off the weekend every Friday around 5:45 with Beer Sample Friday, brought to you by our friends at Thompson Furniture and Mattress in Columbus.
Do you need air conditioning service and need to find a local well-trained expert you can trust, like Family Heating and Air Conditioning? Find that American Standard Air dealer at IndyHomeComfort.com.
Text and whatever. Just don't text and drive. Visit StopTextsStopWrecks.org. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
He's a Second Amendment attorney. He's an NRA certified firearms instructor. He's the gun guy. Guy Relford on 93 WIBC.
And welcome back to the Gun Guy Show here on 93 WIBC. By the way, if you're watching us on YouTube, we're glad you are. If you're listening over the air or online at WIBC.com, we appreciate your participation in whatever mode you happen to be using. But let's get into the meat here of, other than I love responding to our callers, but let's get into the discussion of what Joe Hogshett's proposing here in Marion County. And listen, if you just joined us or otherwise, let's revisit. Here's what Joe Hogsett says he wants to do on gun control here in Marion County.
Raising the minimum age to purchase a firearm from 18 to 21. A complete ban on the sale of military-style guns, such as the AR-15 used in our most recent attack on IMPD officers. This package will end permitless carry policies opposed by law enforcement, as well as the concealed carry of handguns anywhere in Marion County.
So let's go through these. And here's where we need to start. Here's a foundational question that you would think the lawyers in the city county building would be focused on. And in fairness, there was a reference to this, which I'll get into, in his news conference. But state law, specifically what we refer to as the Indiana Firearms Preemption Act. Okay, if you want to look this up, it's 35-47-11.1-2. Okay, written by Jim Toms, a great senator, very pro-2A senator, down from the Evansville area, over closer to Posey County, actually. And Jim Toms wrote this law and fought it through, and it wasn't easy. The Indiana Association of Cities and Towns came out and opposed it. There was a lot of negotiation, a lot of fights, very intense committee hearings. I was there. And we got it passed. And what does it say? It says that, you know what? We have enough laws that regulate firearms at the state and federal level. What we don't need is units of local government, and we're talking about cities and towns and counties and airport authorities and housing authorities and all these other little units of local government, each having their own regulations that somehow affect firearms, including the carrying, possession, purchase, transfer of firearms. And so the Preemption Act, first of all, it says that political subdivisions, what are we talking about? If you look this up, again, 35-47-11.1-2. If you look it up, it says political subdivisions just may not regulate firearms, period. What's a political subdivision? It's a unit of local government. Think of it as the state. Here you go. You got the whole state of Indiana. And then within the state of Indiana, it's divided up into these other units of government at the local level, counties, cities, towns. And so political subdivisions, which are those local units of government, just says may not regulate firearms. Now, there are 13 exceptions, and that sounds like a lot, but it's really not. They're really very limited. For instance, one we call the Jimmy Irsay exception, kind of tongue-in-cheek, because during the negotiation over this statute, during the debate in the legislature, Jimmy Irsay came out and said, hey, you're talking about local government not being able to regulate carrying of firearms, and hey, I'm a pro-2A guy, but I don't really want guns at Colts games. And the city of Indianapolis at that time owned the RCA Dome and then later Lucas Oil Stadium. And so you can't, or we don't want you at least, to say that the city of Indianapolis can't prohibit firearms in a sports stadium. And so they created this exception to say, well, the organizer or promoter of an event on property or in a building leased from a political subdivision can prohibit firearms. Okay, one exception. That's why you can get required to go through a metal detector, get wanded, or go through the walk-through metal detector when you go to a Colts game or a Pacer game. Because the Pacers and the Colts, as organizers or promoters of events on property leased from the city, can prohibit firearms. And there's a couple, they can prohibit guns in a building that contains a courtroom. Okay. But outside these very limited exceptions, local governments just can't regulate firearms. And I can tell you none of the exceptions even come close to applying to what Joe Hogshett's talking about. So the preemption law says very specifically that Joe Hogshett's proposal is illegal. What does that mean? Does that mean somebody goes to jail? Well, no. The enforcement provision that's laid out right in the act, and I've used this because I've filed several of these lawsuits, over a dozen. It says that a local political subdivision like, say, the city of Indianapolis that violates this act and regulates firearms can be sued by anyone adversely affected by that regulation. And they can recover liquidated damages of 3 times their attorney's fees plus their attorney's fees. So essentially 4 times your attorney's fees. So let's say Joe Hogsett passes all this stuff. And to be fair, he said in this news conference that in the event that the preemption law is overturned in the legislature or in the courts, then they'll proceed with enforcing them. Well, what does that mean? There's no appetite. There's no movement whatsoever in the Republican-controlled, Republican supermajority in both houses in the Indiana General Assembly, there's no appetite, there's no movement, there's no momentum whatsoever to repeal this law, which is what it would take. They have to repeal it. Or somehow carve out exceptions that would let the city of Indianapolis do this. I see zero chance of that happening anytime soon. But he also said if it's overturned in the courts, which could mean, and I don't know, I'm not a mind reader, and he didn't say, but what it could mean is that he intends to go ahead and pass this stuff, that is, have the city county council pass it, and then litigate whether the preemption law is enforceable. Well, I've filed several of these lawsuits. I've taken it to the Court of Appeals. I've never seen a legitimate argument that it's not enforceable, that it's unconstitutional? No. The state can preempt local law if it wants to. We have a lot of different examples of that in other areas, in other laws. But he may want to go past this stuff and then litigate whether it's enforceable. Hey, I'm all in. Let's go. Saddle up. Don't threaten me with a good time. Because I'll tell you right now, Mayor Joe Hogsett passes this, or the city county council does, at his instance, at his request, I'll be the one to file the lawsuit. I'll file it in my own name. I would be adversely affected. Because we'll talk about each of these policies in just a minute. If I can't conceal, I conceal carry every time I come to Indianapolis. I'm concealed carrying right now. Now suddenly, City of Indianapolis says I can't do that. Boom, I'm adversely affected. I can file a lawsuit. I'll do it in the name of the 2A Project, nonprofit organization. So the money goes to a good place to further fight for and enhance Second Amendment rights in Indiana. So I'll litigate it. Yeah, and then he's, well, okay, we'll litigate it. You're going to lose in the trial court because it's clearly what he's talking about prohibited. So then we're going to go to the Court of Appeals. Well, we'll argue that it's, I don't know, unconstitutional. I can't even think of an argument to say that it is, but okay. They lose that. Well, now we're going to the Indiana Supreme Court. So we've got what, 1, 2, 3, 4 years of litigation going up to the Court of Appeals. Maybe you go back and forth a couple of times, go up to the Court of Appeals, get sent back down to the trial court. Happens all the time. So you got 2, 3, 4 years of litigation. What's that cost? They're going to multiply that times 4. That's what the taxpayers of Marion County would be on the hook for. Because Joe Hogsett wants to pander to his base in an election year. But let's even talk about the specific proposals. We're going to raise the age to purchase a firearm from 18 to 21. Well, first of all, to purchase a handgun under federal law, you have to be 21 already. So federal law says that you can't buy a gun at a dealer unless you're 21. So City of Indianapolis has no say in that process. That's already the law. Could they say, well, even to buy a handgun from a private individual or any firearm from a private individual? Because right now in Indiana, someone 18 can buy a handgun from a private individual. Someone 18 can buy a long gun, shotgun, or a rifle in a gun store at 18. Can Joe Hogsett say, well, we're talking about private sales of handguns, since you already got to be 21 to buy a handgun in a gun store. And then we're talking about all long guns. In Marion County, you have to be 21. Well, how do they enforce that exactly? Can Marion County create a new crime? That is, if I sell a firearm to someone 19 years old, for instance, can Marion County put me in jail? No. Only the state and the federal authorities can create a new crime that puts me in jail. They can't create a new criminal law. So what can the city of Indianapolis do? They can pass an ordinance or create some new infraction that, no, it'd be an ordinance. It's really how that would have to work. That would fine me or fine a gun shop if I sell a gun to someone under 21. They can't put me in jail. The city of Indianapolis can't do that. So they are fine me. So what? This is going to cut down on crime? So let's say I'm a member of a gang and I've got a bunch of guns that I want to sell to my fellow gang members. And a bunch of those gang members are under 21. And I don't care that I'm already a multi-time felon. I don't care that I'm going to transfer these guns knowing they're going to be used in a crime or specifically in a murder, which is already against the law in Indiana, by the way, that it's a crime for which you can go to prison. I don't care about being as part of a conspiracy to commit murder. I'm suddenly going to stop and go, hold on. I could be fined by Mayor Joe Hogsett and the City County Council in the city of Indianapolis if I transfer this gun to somebody under 21. What? Is that going to stop? No, I'm not afraid of going to prison as part of a conspiracy to commit murder, but I'm not going to transfer that gun because I could be fined by the city of Indianapolis. How ridiculously stupid is that? So what, you're going to inhibit business of gun shops in Indiana by fining them? Maybe threaten their zoning. They could do this through zoning when it comes to businesses. How's it going to cut down on crime? We'll go through the rest of the proposals. But first of all, he's talking about changing the law to something that, with respect to handguns, which, by the way, for all the notoriety and all the hand waving about so-called assault weapons and rifles, handguns still are involved in something like 90% of murders across the country. That is with firearms. 90 plus. So you're already going to be 21 to buy one. So what are we going to change here other than inhibiting the Second Amendment rights of law-abiding citizens? We'll get through the rest of these proposals here quickly. Come back for the last segment of the Gun Guy Show on 93 WIBC.
Tony Katz.
I voted for you to figure this out. If you won't, I'm not going to lose my mind. I'm simply going to vote for somebody else who will. That's our job. America is a machine. The elected officials are cogs. If the cog doesn't work, out, put in a new one. Boop. That's me putting in a new cog. Bloop. I'm going to sip my bourbon and not worry about a thing, Huber.
Tony Katz, mornings 6 to 9 on 93 WIBC and WIBC.com.
Guy Relford for Tactical Firearms Training. Our next Essentials of Indiana Gun Law class is coming up on Saturday, June 17th, 2 weeks from today, 9 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. This is $50 for an individual, $95 for couples. There are only 5 seats left in this. We're trying to sell this out here before the show ends, and I haven't actually checked my registrations, so you need to pick these up here quickly. You can go to tactical-firearms.com. Just click on upcoming courses. You're talking about 4.5 hours of the most important legal information you need as an Indiana gun owner. That's at tactical-firearms.com. Just click on upcoming courses at tactical-firearms.com.
To protect his family from disaster, Steve used his camera phone.
Done.
By taking pictures of his important documents, Steve can always have them stored online. Learn more simple disaster prep tips at ready.gov. A message from FEMA and the Ad Council.
Premier Deck Coating, the ultimate deck protection. Who are they? Well, they're a sister company of Rhino Shield, and Premier Deck Coating is the product you need if you're tired of applying the same old stain and paint every couple of years to your deck. It's Terry, Stacy, and David and I have a deck that's probably 25 years old. The countless hours and the money that we spend on maintaining that deck never ends. And then we heard about Premier Deck Coating, family-owned, based right here in Indy, and they are going to completely transform our deck with their special formulated product, which repels moisture, scratch resistant in virtually any color that we want, and backed by a 10-year guarantee. No more spending time staining or painting every year. Premier Deck Coating will keep our deck looking great for years to come. Premier Deck Coating can also do fences and pergolas too. For a free quote, call 317-696-4071 or visit premierdeckcoating.com.
AE Ammo is Greenwood's ammunition superstore. The largest variety in training, hunting, and self-defense ammo with the best prices locally guaranteed. Factory new 9mm FMJ ammo starting at $12 per 50-round box. Factory new 50-round boxes, $380 from $14.99 and $45 ACP from $18.99. And with the AE Ammo Customer Rewards Program, start earning points today towards money back to use on future purchases. Shop in-store or online at aeammo.com.
Hey, JMV here for Sundown Gardens. The summer startup sale is here, and you can save 20% off container trees and shrubs, 30% off Dissectum Japanese maples, 30% off pottery. Finish off the landscaping in your yard and save money at Sundown Gardens now through June the 11th. 20% off container trees and shrubs, 30% off Dissectum Japanese maples, 30% off of pottery, and ask about their loyalty program. 186th and Spring Mill Road, sundown.gardens.com. That's sundown.gardens.com.
Wealth-changing question.
Is your advisor giving you incomplete advice? Besides investing, there's also taxes, insurance, estate planning, and other elements that can be stressful to organize. At Creative Planning, we provide all the expertise, all the advice you need, all in-house, ensuring every aspect of your wealth works harder together so you can enjoy your wealth instead of worrying about it. Book your free meeting today at creativeplanning.com. Creative Planning, a richer way to wealth.
I spent a lot of time in the garage, but even more time in the rain and mud. In 95, I helped tow your moving trailer. And in 09, it was sparks from me, your chains, dragging behind your truck that accidentally started a wildfire.
Spark a change, not a wildfire. Visit SmokeyBear.com, brought to you by the U.S. Forest Service, your state forester, and the Ad Council.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
The latest local news, commentary from Tony Katz, Kendall and Casey, Hammer and Nigel, podcasts. Listen to the station live, whenever, wherever, online at WIBC.com. Second to none on the Second Amendment. This is The Gun Guy with Guy Relford on 93 WIBC.
And welcome back for maybe a little bit of a short segment, but that's all right. We're going to wrap up the discussion here on Joe Hoggs' proposals. So let's keep going. We talked about raising the age. We're going to ban military-style assault weapons. Yeah, okay. We know as a Democrat he loves to demonize the most commonly owned rifles in America. Fine. We've seen that from politicians for a long time now. But what does that really mean? Again, he can't make it illegal. Can't put you in jail. Can't make it a crime. So you're going to fine people? You're going to prevent gun stores from selling these? If I'm at a gun range and I am using that at a range, am I somehow going to be subject to a fine? And how is this going to affect criminals? Again, because you can't put anybody in jail. It's ludicrous. It's ludicrous. It's pandering to your base in an election year. But the one I really want to focus on is here, after a 10-year fight, we just had constitutional carry passed in Indiana at the state level, in the General Assembly. Governor Holcomb signed into law for the entire state of Indiana. Yes, Joe Hoggs it, including Marion County. Says we have constitutional carry in Indiana. He says he's going to end constitutional carry policy. It's not a policy, Joe. Come on, you're a lawyer. I know. I practice law with you. We practiced law together from 40 years ago to about 38 years ago at a firm right here in downtown Indianapolis. We were young lawyers at the same time at the same law firm. He was U.S. attorney. He was the federal prosecutor responsible for the entire Southern District of Indiana. That's a high-level, important legal position. It's not a policy we're talking about here. It's a law. It's a state law. Couldn't the city of Indianapolis change state law? No, it doesn't work that way, Joe. State law can make local regulation by the city of Indianapolis illegal, and they have when it comes to firearms. So it's not a policy. But he said, we're going to set that aside in the city of Indianapolis. You can't do that, Joe. It'll get you sued. It'll be me that sues you, and I'll win. But beyond that, he's not willing to stop there. He goes, we're going to end the concealed carry of handguns in Marion County. Well, first of all, are you really going to end it? Because I'll say it again. You can't create a new crime. So with a fine, you're going to prevent criminals from carrying concealed handguns in Marion County? So again, I've got a concealed handgun. I'm a murderer. I'm a multi-time murderer. I'm a gang member. I'm a drug dealer. I'm on my way to commit a murder. It's my 5th murder. I don't care about the death penalty. I don't care about 60 years in prison. I've got a concealed handgun. I'm going to stop. I'm going to go, hold on. This is illegal. No, it's not even illegal. It's against a city ordinance, and I could get fined. I'm not afraid of the death penalty, but I'm afraid of Joe Hoggs' it's fine. So I'm not going to carry my handgun. You know what this will do? If law-abiding citizens are concerned, the only people carrying handguns concealed in Marion County will be the criminals. That's what Joe Hoggs wants. In the meantime, that ends the show for this week. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you come back. This is Guy Relford.
Whether you're an experienced firearms owner or are just thinking about getting a new firearm, Atkinson Firearms in Greenwood has everything you need. With brands like Glock, Smith & Wesson, Canik, Colt, Henry, SIG, and much more. If Atkinson Firearms doesn't have it, they can get it. Plus accessories, from holsters to ammo and everything between. Atkinson Firearms is firefighter owned and veteran staff with a new larger location. Follow Atkinson Firearms on Facebook. Atkinson Firearms, off County Line Road next to the Greenwood Airport.
This Father's Day, find the